I overthink and overanalyze everything. It is a terrible personality trait that I've had for as long as I can remember. I consider myself to be a very analytical person. This has actually come up in personality tests that I've done before as one of like my main traits that comes up when I've done these tests for different like business retreats that I've been sent on for my job. Personally, I hate those things, but it is something that has come up multiple times. So I know that this is just kind of who I am. I tend to naturally get lost in my own thoughts, and I try to think of like every possible outcome and every possible thing that could happen if I try to do something, or if when I'm thinking of a problem that I'm trying to solve or a solution to something. Just how I'm wired. It's just how my brain works. But I noticed that this ends up hurting me more than it ends up helping me. I usually tend to think about all the negatives rather than thinking about the positives. This is where I almost think that this might be like a toxic personality trait. While you might think overanalyzing things might be a good thing, many of those times, since I personally think about the bad stuff, it tends to not be good. And I remember hearing this once before. I don't remember where I heard it, and I'm probably paraphrasing. Someone said, stop worrying about everything that can go wrong and start thinking about all the things that can go right. And I have a very hard time doing that. I don't know if it has to do with growing up in kind of like negative thinking household with negative thinking people. Growing up in my household, many of the times things weren't seen in a positive light. A lot of the times things were seen negatively. And I don't know if maybe I've carried that over into my own personal life because of growing up that way. It's something that I have tried to work on over the years. And I think I've done a pretty good job of trying to just be more positive about things. But I can't help that when I overanalyze things and I think about things, I always think about the negatives. And I wanted to share this because it's definitely something that impacts my life a lot. And I'm sure that there's other people out there like that. And I know that it can be very hard when you want a good outcome to happen, but you can't just help but think about all the bad stuff that might happen instead of thinking about the good things that could happen. And it doesn't matter if the decision or thing I'm thinking about is big or small. Like I'll overthink little tiny purchases, and then I'll just go way too deep into overthinking like big decisions to the point where I end up just getting stuck and procrastinating and then eventually not doing something because of being in my own head about things. I believe that in the past, when I was younger, this kind of way of thinking and this way of processing my thoughts and overanalyzing things has prevented me from doing things that I wish I would have set out to do. Overthinking the potential of failing has led me to just not doing anything at all. That's really not good, because as I've gotten older and I've tried more things and I've followed through with a lot of things, I realized that most of the time just showing up and sticking to what it was that you said you were going to do is a lot of what you need to be successful. There's other factors that come into play when you're trying to succeed in something, but most of the battle is just showing up. And when you overthink things to the point where you don't even show up for the first time because you brush off or say that you can't do something because of no other reason than you convincing yourself that you can't do it, it will lead you to not accomplishing a lot of the goals that you want to set and try to do, because so many things feel impossible that when you start thinking about anything, if you stay in your head long enough, everything becomes impossible and you'll never convince yourself to try something because you'll be too worried about failing. Procrastination that leads to failure is why many of us don't get ahead and many of us give up before we even try. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I know a lot of people see me and see some of the stuff I've been able to accomplish. Like I saw somebody commented like, wow, man, you're a purple belt, you're a self-taught programmer, you're a YouTuber, you've done all these things. And it looks like I am this big ambitious person who goes out and does everything he says he's going to do. But the truth is that most of the time I am way over analytical. I way overthink everything. I get stuck in my own head and I think very negatively, which is, like I said, something that I have tried so hard over the years to break as a bad habit. But from the outside looking in, you might see me as this super successful person. But the truth is that I have a lot of the same self-doubts and inner thoughts of being a failure that many other people out there probably have, who see me and are like, man, I wish I can accomplish all the things that he has. And the truth is that I battle this all the time and it's not easy. And when you see people who are successful, you think that they just have it easy or they're just naturally that way. And it's not the case. Like I force myself to follow through on things. I try to convince myself that things will be all right, even though when I feel most of the time it's not going to be be okay, I still try to listen to that one little piece of the inner voice, that one little small part inside of me that I try to grow and nourish and say like, yes, that little voice that tells me it's going to be okay. That's the one I have to focus on. I can't focus on all these other inner voices that are telling me that I'm going to fail, that I suck, that I'm no good. And I think that many of us need to focus on that little voice because we've had so many voices in our lives that have told us that things won't work out, that we can't accomplish things. And it's so hard for us to listen to the one that tells us that we can because it's just not the one we're used to listening to. And it's just not the one we're used to hearing. And it doesn't feel like it's the one that's correct because it's the least heard and the one that we believe the least. And if you want to be successful, you got to stop thinking like that. I'm saying this to you, but I'm speaking to myself as well. Because like I said, I struggle with this. So like, how do you fix it? How do you work on this? How do you stop all those negative thoughts? And how do you stop overthinking and procrastination? Well, the truth is that Shia LaBeouf video.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it.
Just go out and do it. And it feels silly and it feels oversimplified to just say, oh, just go out and do the thing that you want to do.
Do it!
But it feels like the wrong answer because it's so simple and it's the clearest answer and the one that makes the most sense. It really is like, just go out and do it. There is no magic pill. There is no secret sauce to anything that you want to do in life. You have to just go out and do it. If you know something can bring you value, if you know something is worth pursuing, then go out and do it.
Do it!
We have all the information that we need at our fingertips. Most of us are on our phones all day. Literally, you have all the world's knowledge at your disposal. You have everything you need in order to be successful in your front pocket. And anything that you want to do, you can easily research and find a guide on how to do it. The few things that I've been successful in, because I'm not a super successful person, I'm still working on my next step. For instance, jujitsu, right? How do you get good at jujitsu? You Google it. It's like go to a jujitsu school and just keep doing it. I went to a jujitsu school and I kept doing it. Although I don't think I'm good at jujitsu, I have been doing it long enough and it's something that I continue to practice to get better at. Another thing I did was learn how to code. What did I do to learn how to code? I literally went out and I Googled it. And then I started following the steps. I fumbled along the way. I went one direction when I should have gone the other. I fixed my path. I got mentorship by going and meeting people. I watched YouTube videos. I took tutorials. I started building things. I did everything I needed to do that I went out and looked for doing. It's why I kind of get frustrated when people ask me for like a path or like, what should I do? It's like, I hate to be as blunt as just saying like, go figure it out. But the truth is that that's the answer, is go figure it out. Same thing with YouTube, right? Like, how did I grow a YouTube channel? I went and I watched other YouTube videos that told me how to do this. And I researched that and I took little steps by like getting better at like using a camera, buying a better microphone, learning how to make my footage look better, learning how to edit, learning how to add B-roll, learning how to film B-roll. Like all of this stuff is all things that I learned how to do. If you go back to my first videos, like talking on camera wasn't natural for me, although I did do some acting when I was in my early 20s, like acting, but it wasn't anything that prepared me for this. You can tell, go back to my very first video and see how awkward I was and how stiff I was on camera and how unnatural this was for me. But all I did was practice and keep at it. And eventually I started to get better at the process, and eventually I started to get better at making videos, and this thing grew and people connected with what I had to say. But if somebody asked me like, how do I do that? How do I get to where you're at in life? It's just do it. Just pick the thing and do it. So many of us overthink everything. So many of us talk ourselves out of things. So many of us worry about what if I fail, when most of us need to be thinking about what happens when I succeed. We need to stop overthinking everything. We need to stop getting in our own heads and procrastinating, and knowing that when something can make our lives better, all we have to do is go out and do it. Most of us don't have the things that we want because most of us don't really want it enough to go out and get it. Most people want to sit around, play video games all day, watch TV all day, eat shitty food, and do things that don't bring us value because those things are easy. And getting ahead in life and having to work hard on things in order to grow as a person, in order to gain new skills, in order to become the person that you want to be and get to that next step and that next level in life is a lot of hard work. And most of us will talk ourselves out of it before we even try. If you sit around worrying about the what ifs so much to the point where it stops you from making any strides towards your goals and accomplishing the things that you really know that you want to do, you're going to look back one day and think like, man, why did I waste so much time worrying about whether or not I could do something? And why didn't I just try? Why didn't I just try to go for the things that I wanted to do and see what would have happened? I wasted so much time and mental energy concerning myself with all the possibilities of failure. And I never once thought that success would have been as simple as just trying to do something and sticking with it and going out and accomplishing what I wanted to do. I'm saying this not to be a motivational speaker and sound like some guru, but I'm saying it and sharing it because I'm realizing now accomplishing your goals is literally just as simple as going out and doing the thing you said you want to do. As a message to you and a message to myself, stop overthinking everything, stop overanalyzing everything, don't procrastinate, and make moves in the right direction, and eventually you'll get to your destination. All right, with all that said, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!